Hello Somerville, my name is Ed Howell and welcome to the Somerville Labor Show. As you can see, we are in a different location. We are located here in beautiful Inman Square. Compliments of the Outpost 186, and we really appreciate letting us be here, me and Rand Wilson. As you can see, he's not wearing a mask, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm vaccinated fully. Here's my card. Rand is fully vaccinated. The Somerville Media Center currently is unable to provide that to us. So we need to get this show in, very important to us. So we're going to have the show today, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in on YouTube. And those of you who watch us on Somerville Media Center, I know you've missed us, we've missed you, but we've had shows going the entire time. I grew up in Cambridge just a little bit for about 3 years. I actually lived down the street in a four-family over here. So for me, this is kind of special. I mean, life has come in full circle for me, and I really do appreciate having the opportunity to be here. And a couple of months ago, just before the country went to lockdown, there's a tremendous group in Somerville called Somerville Stands Together. And I've been fortunate enough to be part of that group, but at the same time also doing this show. And Somerville Stands Together is, Rand runs a lot of the meetings. Head spears a lot of it, but the group itself is incredible. So I want to introduce Rand Wilson. He's the former SEIU Chief of Staff. Rand, welcome to the Somerville Labor Show for what, the fourth or fifth time?
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, it really is. Tell me about Somerville Stands Together, and what does Somerville Stands Together stand for? What's it about?
Somerville Stands Together is a community labor coalition. It consists of about 25 labor community groups, and over the last few years, quite a few environmental groups like, from Somerville have also joined the coalition. Our basic mission is to promote good jobs, local hire, to promote affordable housing, and we've embraced the idea of a Green New Deal for Somerville.
Very important. That's one of the things that I think that this show is really all about. We have become obsessed with this Green New Deal, if that's exactly what it is. And so many people are working on it right now. So Rand, before I explain, we're going to ask you to explain to our viewers the term further forward, shovel ready. And I'd like to do that, but before we do that, there's a video from 2018 from the Climate Forward Somerville, and it prioritizes 13 action areas and 22 key points. This is off of the website. I know it's kind of hard to see, you probably can't see it, but we will insert that and you guys can look at that. But take it's about a 2 or 3 minute video that sets up exactly what Somerville's plan is, and I have to believe that we're looking at some improvements to that plan. So just take a look at that right now.
Climate change is one of the most pressing challenges of our time. More rainfall and bigger storms are putting our city at risk for flooding. 2018 was one of the hottest summers on record, with nearly 20 days over 90 degrees. Extreme weather in every season is on the rise.
Here in Somerville, we're taking action to slow climate change and prepare for its impacts by introducing our first ever climate action plan. Somerville Climate Forward will help us reduce emissions in our city and get us ready to handle the heat, flooding, droughts, and intense storms related to climate change. The best way to find out how we'll do this is to read the plan at somervillema.gov/climateforward.
The plan was created by community members like me, coming together with city leaders, world-renowned climate experts, dedicated city staff, and consultants. We used years of data collected by the city to help us understand our most pressing needs and prioritize our actions.
Somerville Climate Forward focuses our long-term goals into 13 action areas that we can start working on now to become a resilient and carbon-neutral city. And some of these steps are already underway.
Somerville is already working to reduce the number of gas-powered vehicles on the road. The city has started switching its trucks and cars, including police cars, to electric or hybrid, and it's easier now for residents to do the same. The city has installed electric vehicle charging stations all around Somerville, with more to come. More and more of the city's commuters are choosing to go car-free. Today, about half walk to work, ride bikes, or take public transportation. The city fought for the Green Line extension in part to increase access to public transportation and further reduce carbon emissions. In Union Square, the city is working to reduce the potential for destructive flooding. Construction is already underway on an important project to improve the drainage in the neighborhood. And thanks to the Mystic River Watershed Association, Somerville has joined with other cities to develop a plan to prepare for coastal flooding.
But there's so much more we need to do together to truly make a difference when it comes to climate change.
Somerville Climate Forward spells out 13 specific action steps for us to make those important changes together.
Here are just a few of them.
Action number 1 proposes that new building construction be resilient to flooding and extreme heat, and commits us to exploring net zero energy and emission standards for new buildings. But most of Somerville is already built. Action number 2 calls for retrofitting existing buildings to improve energy efficiency and switch to renewable electric systems for heat and cooling, which we'll need more of. Jumping forward, action number 6 aims to keep Somerville cool, indoors and outdoors, in hot weather by planting more trees around the city and maintaining our urban forest.
And that's just a small sample of the plan. I hope you check out the plan at somervillema.gov/climateforward to see how much more we can each do on our own.
And I hope you'll look at the plan to see what we can accomplish by acting together and making equity a central focus. Climate change already threatens the most vulnerable among us more than others. So we will take action on climate change by making sure no one is left behind.
Climate change is a complex problem that will take big, bold solutions and cooperation among residents, businesses, and government to make a difference.
In other words, it will take all of us, including you. That's what we do in Somerville. We work together to make our city a great place to live, work, play, and raise a family. And we can be carbon neutral by 2050 if we start now. So let's work together.
And start Somerville Climate Forward today.
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 And start Somerville Climate Forward today.
Okay, Ren, we're back. That was interesting.
Yeah.
I think that was a pretty good video in 2018, but now it's 2021. We just come out of the pandemic. Tell me a little bit about that. I know that Larry Yu, he serves on the Somerville Commission of Energy Use and Climate Change. It's a municipal citizen commission that advises the mayor's office on energy and climate. What is it that Somerville stands together is going to be doing? Can you explain to our viewers what the term further forward? Let's start with further forward because it's going to confuse people, but what is it?
I just want to back up, Ed. I think that when we looked at this for the Climate Forward plan back in 2019 or early 2020, actually it was 2019 that we began to talk about the Green New Deal and how could we implement something like that at the municipal level. What would it look like? They talk about the Green New Deal at the federal level, big grandiose ideas, Senator Markey, Ocasio-Cortez, but how could we bring that same kind of those concepts into our city? Well, the first thing you do is you turn and you look at the Climate Forward plan that the city had. And when we looked at that plan, they'd done a lot of terrific work. However, they had failed to involve some aspects of the community, like unions, like people of color, were really underrepresented, working class people underrepresented in the plan. And most importantly, the plan failed to address economic inequality. And if we try to implement a Green New Deal without addressing economic inequality, we're only going to encourage those forces that are going to be opposed to this, right? We're going to set up our own defeat because we are going to grow the movement against change. And if we ask people to sacrifice in order to save the planet, that sacrifice has to be shared. And in fact, those that can most afford to pay need to pay more. And those that are currently suffering from economic deprivation need to be brought up and lifted up by the Green New
So
Deal.
how does 2021, in the past 14 to 16 months, which is completely eye-opening, right? What has happened, basically accentuated, accelerated the thought process of many people, because, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe back in 2020, early on, people weren't really thinking about the Green New Deal as much as they're thinking about it now.
And they weren't thinking about Black Lives Matter.
They weren't thinking about that either. So
Right.
this is really taking on the racial, social inequality, economic that you're discussing, that you're talking about right now.
Right. It has to be part of the plan, and that was missing. So with Somerville Stands Together, we said, you know, we need to go further forward. We need a climate further forward plan. We need to revise the effort that they made in 2018 and take that further. And then we had a second input from 350.org.
Mass 350, yep.
Massachusetts 350, that said, you know, whether it's Trump gets reelected or whether a Democrat gets elected, there's going to be money flowing for infrastructure improvements and for economic
We're
stimulus.
going to get to that.
Yeah.
That's something we're
And so
definitely-
that was the concept of let's be shovel ready. So those are how those two task forces were formed.
Okay, so the further forward shovel ready, that's how it came to be. Can you give me, what are like the bread and butter, nuts and bolts, the further forward, the shovel ready points that go beyond what we saw in this video? Can you share a few points and some of the differences on the improvement that the group has made? They're going further forward, so can you give me just a little bit? I know we got like, what, a half hour in the show or something like that, but maybe you can just throw a couple at us here.
Well, you mentioned one of the most important ones, which was the climate forward plan for the city had goals for 2050 with no benchmarks, with no way to calibrate how much progress we're making towards goal. And 2050 doesn't have a sense of urgency. We need to move faster towards carbon neutrality.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be a leader, not a follower. So the Further Forward group has set the goal of 2035 with benchmarks for achieving goals in 2030,
That's
and 2025 and 2030.
That's quite a change.
Yes,
15
we want to
years. That's challenging.
accelerate the commitment.
Yeah, okay. So,
And then, you know, we also talked about making sure that more people, that the plan is more inclusive of all the neighborhoods and of all the people of Somerville.
so you've expanded on this greatly. And we'll talk about what we're going to do and when this could be coming out. So are we in a moment like we've never seen before, just after this pandemic, as far as opportunities to present a document that Further Forward Shovel Ready is working on right now? Is this something that's going to be worked on, produced by legislators?
I certainly want to make sure that in this election season, where we'll be electing a new city council and a new mayor, that all of the candidates will address the proposals coming from Somerville Stands Together to take us further forward and to make sure that we're shovel ready and that we ask those candidates, you know, what's your position on these issues, and do you agree or disagree with the proposals that are being made by the two task forces?
So for the residents in the city of Somerville, the workers in the city of Somerville who cannot live in the city of Somerville because of the expense,
Yeah.
the caravan that may go south or go north every single day after they leave work, right? How do they understand the plan and the proposal? I mean, how is this going to benefit the workers? How is this going to benefit the residents? How is it going to benefit the people that are down? They're down. Are they being kept down? Well, they're being kept down financially.
Well, I think-
they can't get out of where they are.
I think that a lot of that goes to the shovel-ready concepts. Somerville's going to get somewhere in the neighborhood of $63 million or $64 million in the economic stimulus.
I'm going to put you on the spot right now then. How do you know that?
Because
How do
the
we-
Congressional Budget Office produced those statistics.
Okay.
And they break it down for every state and every
Are you
municipality
saying
and every
Somerville
county.
will get 63, or who's gonna get it? Somerville will get 63 million?
Yeah. Somerville will
More money.
get in the range of 63 to
Okay.
$64 million.
And that's-
So, and they have to spend that money by 2020, the end of 2022. There's going to be a tremendous amount of money coming to the city that has to be spent. And what's wonderful is that we are in a position to get in front of that money and to make sure that it's not just given to the developers to do whatever they want to do, and that the money, as it's spent, will address the issues of pay equity, of local hire, of union labor, and prevailing wages. We have to insist that that money is used to rectify everything that the pandemic has exposed about economic, the pandemic has made economic inequality worse, not
So
better.
if I'm a
It's
resident-
exacerbated the differences between us. Instead of bringing us together, I think it's really divided us.
Well, that's-
And that $63 million has to be used to address the issues that were deficient in this community
So then-
prior to the pandemic.
What's in the box, Rand? Do you know the box? Nobody knows what's in the box, right?
Yeah.
What's in the box? Tell me.
Well,
what we're gonna.
there's two things in the
Talk about
box.
the retrofitting. Tell me what's in that box that we need. The most important things that the residents who can afford to live in the city of Somerville will want that, will benefit them as well as the people who really can't afford it.
So, look, about half the city rents and about half the city owns, something in that neighborhood. And anybody that's driving around Somerville right now, all you see is the phenomenal amount of investment that's being made as we speak in residential, business, commercial development. It's everywhere, right? We live in a boom town. We've got to make sure that we are, that all the construction that's going on, whether it's in an individual's home, a single family, a two-family, a three-family, or an apartment complex at the residential level, we have to make sure that that is addressing climate change, that we are moving towards carbon neutral. And we need to give people the money to make those changes.
So is that
That's
retrofitting? Is that the retrofitting of the whole?
retrofitting of residential, retrofitting of commercial, and also retrofitting of the city's municipal buildings.
So that's an immediate impact to people who are residents of the city of Somerville, who may not need what the workers need, or the people who are living, in subsidized housing.
Right.
Right.
But all of our housing stock, all of our municipal buildings, and the commercial sector, those facilities, they need to be retrofitted in order to make sure that they are taking us to our climate neutral goals, and that's what the $63 million is for.
That's a lot of money in a short time to spend.
A lot of money, short time to spend it, and we can use it constructively if we're, quote, shovel ready.
Okay.
And I think,
And we're working on, you guys are working on that.
Yeah.
I know you're working on it. I mean, Judy left, I hate to just point out one or two people, but Judy's and Lee have done a tremendous job on that. And Malcolm and everybody, and Larry, and I don't want to mention everybody, but
I don't want to mention everybody's names,
I'm sorry.
but the point is that since we first convened in September 2020, and we had the Labor Climate Change Summit meeting, we broke into these two groups. I couldn't tell you how many hours of work these two task forces have done, all volunteer, all people who have brought their different points of view, and a much more inclusive.
We need a lot more of that, I'll tell you.
And we need more of it.
Okay, so let me get to the infrastructure part of my show here, because I'm thinking about infrastructure. I hear like a lot of money filter into the states and the city. Infrastructure funding. I know that's in the process of being passed, right? Will that go hand in hand with the Green Deal? And will that also be more money to funnel many clean jobs? I think that's got to do with water resources and things like that.
Yeah,
That's
bridges, roads.
That's huge, right?
Sewers, water
Yeah.
supplies,
Okay.
you know, and solar, wind, all of those kinds of pieces of infrastructure.
Okay, so
The thing that I think that we need to be looking for is to put people to work in good paying jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're gonna have solar retrofitting, or if we're gonna be changing up the insulation in our residential, commercial, and municipal facilities, that work needs to be union labor, prevailing wages, and local hire, local opportunity for our high school graduates and for the Somerville youth to be in those green jobs. And we want to make them good jobs. You know, we've seen right now, where you look around the city, frankly, there's a lot of construction work that's being done at below market rate. There's a lot of construction work being done, you know, where people are being paid under the table.
well, some people may say, what's wrong with that, Ram?
Well, there's a lot wrong
Some
with
people
that.
may say.
Yeah,
Right.
what happens is that you know, you have wage theft occurring, you have people being exploited and exposed to environmental and occupational safety and health problems, and we hear an awful lot about that in these small contractors that are, or subcontractors particularly, that are coming into the city to do you know, a lot of the renovations that are going on right
And
now.
all of those things that have been addressed right on this show.
Yes.
We have talked about that, and we have beaten those things into the ground. So I'm gonna put you on the spot, a little bit, just a little bit here. So if you could, and you can, because you're in that, you know, you can do that, in the process of doing that right now, what would you say to every political candidate, incumbent, challenger? What would you tell them about this moment that is so important, that is coming, that is here, and how they should be able to have the ability to take advantage of it, embrace what we're discussing right now? Is there one thing that you would say to them? Because I think they're looking for support. I mean, I have to believe that everybody's going to support this, even if they don't know what it is, right?
Yeah,
If you run for office.
I want the candidates to get into the weeds. I want the candidates to talk to us about their plan to incorporate these suggestions and ideas that are coming from Somerville Stands Together. How are they going to implement that? When are they going to do it? How are they going to get the money? What is their commitment to economic and social inclusion? What is their commitment to a Green New Deal, to green jobs, to social and economic equity? I want to hear their plans. I want to put them on the spot to tell the community what they're prepared to
Well,
do.
time is wasted on that one. So, I mean, I'm hoping that these forums, or whatever forums that they have, will bring that out. I'm hoping that we can see that further forward shovel-ready plan rolled out in some way, shape, or form, and maybe they can embrace that. But
Well,
anyway,
the Somerville Stands Together Coalition will vote on the final further forward and shovel-ready proposals in the first week in June. And then we will forward those to all of the candidates, and we will then schedule some sort of opportunity for them to respond to us, right? So that we can listen to their reactions to what we've given them, and to hear what they would do to bring those plans to life.
So they've got a homework assignment on this one, and hopefully they'll pay attention, because it's really important that they do that. So I have to ask about rural hospitality in generalities, but I want to talk a little bit about job transitioning, and this is vital to our workers, because these old jobs, the older jobs, the jobs that aren't here anymore, the ones that are going away, many jobs that were here in the industrial sector have gone away in Somerville, and they've gone away in many places. So rural hospitality has, you said, 400 workers. About half of them live in the city of Somerville. Right?
That's right.
Okay, and they're about to be displaced in their jobs because of the Union Square revitalization plan. So my question is, how can Further Forward Shovel Ready benefit them? What can they do? Can there be an apprenticeship program to help train and give these workers placement in the new economy that is here right now?
You know, training only goes so far, Ed. We need to, of course, you know, workforce development training. I serve on the Job Creation and Retention Trust, which is involved in that. But we need to make sure that those workers are given access to unemployment, that they are offered jobs with the corporation that owns Royal Hospitality, and including moving expenses if they want to, you know, travel to another. It's called, what's the name of the company? I can't think of it, but the corporation is a big company,
Right.
Big corporation that owns Royal Hospitality. They need to put these people at the head of the line to get jobs and to relocate them if they want that. Secondly, the casino needs to make a commitment, their biggest customer, Encore, needs to make a commitment that they're going to keep that laundry work in this general area so that people can move from working at Royal Hospitality to whomever is going to be doing the sheets and towels and pillowcases for Encore. That was part of their license, is responsibility to source their services locally. So third, we need to make sure that the city is doing everything it can to find new jobs for these people. And it can't just be retraining.
Well, that's where I'm going with this. What has the city done so far? I know the job creation, I understand, I think it's a great thing. I mean, I know our viewers may not know enough about it right now. However, what have they done anything yet to assist Royal Hospitality in this?
Not yet.
Okay, so I'll move off of that. So the Workers' Center. I would have to believe that the Workers' Center that's been created for the jobs creation is something that will be helpful going forward.
I sure hope so.
Workers. Okay.
I mean, the whole concept of doing workers' rights education is to empower our residents to understand what their rights are, to be able to identify wage theft, to be able to identify occupational safety and health violations, and to empower them and assist them to rectify those problems. The Workers' Center is really such an important innovation here in the city. And I'm really, it's brand new, but I'm really hopeful that it will play a role
I think it works because we had Alicia Tracy from the Ruthven Workers' Center on the show. And I was telling Greg, Assistant Producer Greg Hill, about this before we walked into the studio here today. I said, she was an amazing person.
Oh, yeah.
The things that she's doing and how she's helped people coming into this country to try to get acclimated from countries where it's intolerable to live.
So the Brazilian Workers Center is a partner with the Welcome Project and the Massachusetts Occupational Safety and Health Coalition that together administer the Somerville Workers Center. It's those three groups that got the money from the Jobs Creation Trust to kick that off.
Tremendous. Really.
And Natalicia with the Brazilian Workers Center, I mean, they do a phenomenal job in Brighton and Alston and for Brazilian workers all across eastern Massachusetts.
So will, because we're getting close to the end here,
Okay.
by adopting the Further Forward Shovel Ready goal, right, will it bring the economic, racial, and social justice that many have been waiting for, right? And if so, what details do you think it can do? You think the shovel ready, you think this is the beginning, shovel ready, further forward, can you bring that to us?
I think we've taken important first steps, but people are sick and tired of hearing the rhetoric of change without actually seeing change. That's why you get people supporting, crazy ideas and
You talking about theories, conspiracies?
conspiracies and things like that.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, leave it at that. And so I think that, we have a candidate in Somerville talking about, make Somerville great again. And, where he's coming from is in some ways tapping into that anger of a lot of Somerville residents who feel left behind, who feel left out. And I think that if we don't spend this $63 million in a way that addresses economic inequality in the city, you're going to deepen the divide. So we have that opportunity. The money is coming. We've done some preliminary work to be ready, but it's going to be up to the new city council and the new mayor in January of 2022 to begin to spend that money and to use it in a way that addresses not only our climate change needs or our goals towards carbon neutrality, but also racial and economic injustice.
So I know the old Somerville, and I know the new Somerville, and enjoyed all of it. Lived through it, and it's fine. And as we move on, as we progress,
we can't go back to the old Somerville.
Well, we go with it.
Yes.
We're going with the flow and doing the best we can. So, one last thing for you: any personal thoughts on your experiences during the pandemic, and is there any other year that you could compare what's happened in 2020? I call it 2021 because we're still kind of rolling with it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go through a big speech about it, but do you have any things off the top of your head? Have you thought about any personal thoughts on your experiences over this past year?
I have to say that, personally, I've been so blessed that, my children, my partner, we've all gotten through it safely without any sickness or experience. But I've lost some friends, I've had colleagues that have died from the pandemic, and it's very sad. I don't think our public health infrastructure was as sound and as strong as it should have been when this thing hit. And so the takeaway is we need to use some of this money to make sure that Somerville's public health infrastructure is strengthened.
The healthcare.
The healthcare is strengthened. And that should mean not closing our hospital, but making it more robust.
One thing I want to say too is, the nurses who've worked so hard, and the Mass Nurse Association right now are fighting for a contract. And we have some good friends.
At Somerville Hospital.
We have some good friends over there, and I saw a sign that they went from heroes to zeros.
Heroes
and
to
it's a
zeros.
sad commentary that we have to have that, and we have to see signs like that. It's really sad. So my closing statement here is it's really stunning how this past year in 2021 has and will change our lives. It's raised our level of awareness and opened our eyes to systemic racism. As we broadcast this show a year ago to the day, May 25th, on this very same day, 2020, George Floyd was murdered by the knee of a Minnesota police officer that lasted 8 minutes and 15 seconds. It's a day that has changed the world, and we will never forget that. So there's a beautiful mural just down the street here, that's right on the line on Beacon Street, at one of the local watering holes, if that's what you want to call it. And it's a beautiful. We're gonna show that at the end of the show. But here are the words that are there on this mural, and it says, "You are a light. You are the light. Never let anyone, any person, or any force dampen or diminish your light." That's by John Lewis. So Ray, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Ed.
I want to thank you for coming here, and we had another show planned to do this, but we couldn't, but we're doing it today. And I want to thank the technical people, the camera people. They're here, they're helping out, and it's been just really eye-opening for me. What a crazy year! And we're going to bring more people in. And back there, you see the Somerville stands together. You see the Somerville Labor Show. And in unity, there's strength. When we fight, we win. Over and out. Thank you. And if that...
Somerville.